Hi there, it's Rachel Martin, and you're listening to Parenting Teens Podcasts. Hello, and welcome to another podcast. This time we're going to be focusing on communicating with your teen. And when I say communicating and learning to speak their language, I don't mean the stuff like, oh, that's sick, or yeah, bruh, or all those other strange things we hear them saying at the moment. I kind of mean how we learn to speak their language, how we can talk in a way that they can begin to understand, and how you can understand sometimes what it is they're trying to say to you. This might actually also involve learning the text talk letters. I found that one can actually be quite useful because they use it a lot. But when we talk about learning to communicate, I'm talking about things like how they want to be loved, how they want to be spoken to, what's important to them, and what words or things really help. And on the flip side, what really gets their back up. And most importantly, why this matters to them. As parents, we really like to think we know our children best. I mean, come on, we co-created them, we've brought them up. But here comes the truth bomb. In the teen years, they spend a lot of time working this out for themselves, and they're changing what they want for themselves. And sometimes, I'm sorry to say, they quite often hide this from us as parents, and they do it on purpose and by choice. And they do it for many different reasons. And for your teen, this will be individual to them, but some of them are. Sometimes they actually just don't want your opinion on it. I know that sounds really harsh, but you're their parent and they're trying to find their own way. So sometimes they just don't want to know it. Or sometimes they think that you just won't understand what it is they're trying to say. And this can be for a lot of reasons. One, sorry, but you're probably old in their world, and our generation doesn't always understand everything, is something I hear quite a lot. But if they don't think you're going to be open to understanding, there's no reason for them to bring it to you. There's no reason they're going to want to talk to you about it. Another thing might be that they aren't sure yet, and they don't want to seem weak by changing their minds if they come back to you with a different choice. They want to know that they're right when they come to tell you something. So the chances are they're not going to come when they're confused or conflicted in what they're thinking. The most common reason I see when it comes to teens not communicating with their parents is because they don't want to disappoint you. You're the person who's been there forever, and you're the person that they really want to look up to them and be proud of them. So the last thing they want to do is bring to you something that they might think shows that they're failing or that they don't understand. I want you to think of a time when you were younger, and if there was that person or that friend, you know, the one that had all the answers and had already done things 10 times better than anyone else. I don't know if you had someone in your life like that or you knew someone, but I definitely did. I just want you to think about how you remember feeling when you were with them. How would you describe that person? Did you ever consider why they did that? What else was going on there? We'll come back to this in a bit more detail later, but that person, the one you may or may not have known, but I'm sure you can imagine, that person is generally seen as annoying. They become the talker and you became the listener. This person does this because it gives them a feeling of control and power. People who one up or have all the answers are just reaching to be respected. They want you to see them as experienced, as clever, as wise. Can you see where I'm going with this one yet? All they want to do is help, and they see that if they show you they've felt the same somewhere before, or they've done something it's similar, it shows that you're not alone and that you will survive because they got through it as well. The only problem is that isn't what this always conveys. But I guess that's just life, and we live and learn how to communicate with different people in different ways. So what I'm trying to say is that by being the constant answer, you're not actually communicating with your teen. You're being that kid. You're being that person. So why learn how your teen communicates? Well, we're all different. I know that's not a massive revelation, but I heard a saying once that really stuck with me. You can't love someone the way you want to be loved. You need to love someone the way they want to be loved. Look at your other relationships, partners or friends, or maybe even your own parents. We all learn to adapt. We all learn what works and what doesn't, what flicks on a switch and the red flag is raised, or what brings them closer and brings us laughter. With our teens, you need to revisit the list you created when they were growing up. You kind of got to do a bit of an audit check just to make sure that this list is still correct, because the chances are it's changed. The problem is, with your teenager, you felt you created that person, so you deeply know already who they are. They don't like loud people or loud noises. They're an introvert, or they're super confident. They're kind and loving, or sometimes they can be cruel. But whatever it is, that's your image you created of your teen. This is the picture you have nurtured, literally. But the truth is, as your child moves into the teen years, you begin to lose that picture. Let's be honest, you do have a picture in your head of what you want for your child, how they'll be, their path in the future. I mean, have you ever said, well, they'll never be a surgeon, or they're absolutely going to go to university, or they're so creative, or they have so much confidence? All these are impressions you've created over the years. However, they don't see the years before when they picked up Lego over a book, or they dropped everything that they touched, so a surgeon for a job is clearly not going to work. They're still learning what interests them, what they enjoy, what they want for their life. And I can tell you, unless they ask, they really want to decide this for themselves. And this is where learning their language, how they communicate, kind of gives you a foot in the door into their life and what these choices may be. Being the one who knows how to support them, who takes the time to know what matters and uses this knowledge to help their team forward. Friends can generally be quite selfish, especially in the teen years. Everyone else usually has an alternative motive somewhere along the lines. But by you learning how to communicate, showing that you're different to everyone else as their parent, is such a huge game changer. So get into it. Learn if they feel sad, what helps them back out. Those little things, like a hug with no words at all, or a certain food that makes them smile, a song that will bring back a happy memory, or just some space, or time to sit and read a book. But whatever this thing is, the list can be endless, but just make sure you find out what it is from them. I can't stress this enough. This is not, they've always loved mac and cheese, so I already know this, that's what I'm going to cook them. You might be right, but ask them. Because apart from anything else, it goes a long way to show you actually want them to tell you. You want them to help you to help them. Not that you're the parent who already knows all this already. Remember the know-it-all kid? When you ask that kid for advice, the one who always had the answers, they would say they know how you feel because it was like, when I did, boom, your conversation's over. Now, if they'd actually said to you, do you know what? What is it that would help you? Do you want to know when I was in a similar situation? Or do you just want me to sit here and listen? Then you feel engaged. Then you would have felt heard, and no assumptions would have been made. For that friend to do that, for that friend to come back to you when you ask for advice in a different way, they need to be in a place where they just want to help. For you to be that for your teen, you need to understand that you don't always know what your teen wants from you. Someone has to ask or tell. That's just how it is. Now, not really a shocker here. Your teen isn't just going to tell you. So you are going to have to be the one who asks. But then you're connecting, you're supporting, and you're showing your position as a parent in such a beautiful way. So next time you speak with your teen, find out how would be best to communicate with them. When they want help, Ask them what it is you can do. Ask them what would help and what wouldn't. Or do one of those little things that they told you about earlier, the quiet hug, the space, whatever it is. But communicate with them how they need you to, not how you think they want you to. Thanks for listening to this podcast. I hope you found it enjoyable and maybe a little bit helpful. Please make sure you click subscribe if you don't want to miss any more of the up and coming episodes. And if you've got any comments or any advice you'd like to share, please just drop me a message. I always love to hear from anybody. I'm a teen counsellor and I help out teens with any issues that they're facing. It can be a difficult time, so if I can be of any use, please make sure you get in touch. There's lots of different ways that you can help to make your life and family a happier place to be. I hope you have an excellent day.